The purpose of this video is to give a brief overview of the area of enduring powers of attorney. There was a lot of change in this area of the law last year, April 2023, when the Mental Health Capacity Act 2015 came fully into force, and it's had significant impacts on this area. Heretofore, it was relatively straightforward to create an EPA and could be done relatively quickly. Often what you'd have is a client whose capacity might shortly be in jeopardy, and you would drop everything, and in conjunction with their GP you would put the EPA in place. And I remember myself doing several out in the hospital, and it was a system that worked very well. Now, under the new system, that is not the case, and it's in my opinion, it's far more difficult to create an enduring power of attorney, and there's far more hurdles to overcome should you wish to do so. At the moment, it's taking somewhere between 4 to 6 months to create an enduring power of attorney, and the costs in terms of what I am time costing at has tripled under the new system, given how cumbersome it is. I briefly said, in order to create an EPA under the new system, you will have to do the following. Firstly, you, the donor or the creator of the EPA, will have to log on to the DSS and set up a profile. Your attorney, the person you're appointing in the event you lose capacity, will also have to do this. And in order to do it, you will need a MyGov ID. The MyGov ID is, you'll have to obtain this from your local Department of Social Welfare, and I know it takes at least 2 visits in order to do this. Once you have successfully got your MyGov ID and created your profile with the DSS, the Decision Support Service, you will then have to submit ID verification to them, and this will include a photo ID and proof of address. This process again takes up to 6 weeks at the date of recording this video. Once you've successfully done all of that, you will then be able to download a template EPA from the DSS portal you've created, and as part of this there'll be 4 different sections setting out what you want to happen under your enduring power of attorney. And once you've successfully created the EPA, you will have to download the following forms and complete them and return them to the DSS within 3 months. So those forms are the donor declaration form. This is signed by the person creating the enduring power of attorney and must be signed in front of the attorney. So you'll have to arrange for your attorney to be present. There may be some logistical requirements here. There'll be the attorney declaration form. Again, this has to be signed in the presence of the donor, and if you've multiple attorneys, they will all have to be present when you're signing the form. There will be the solicitor's declaration to be signed by myself or someone in this office, confirming that we're satisfied that at the date you're signing the declaration, you're aware of the implications of doing so, the implications and consequences of doing so. There'll be a declaration to be signed by your GP at the same day on which you signed the declaration. And as well as this, you'll have to give your GP a copy of the enduring power of attorney. Now, why this is necessary, I don't know, and I would think it's an overreach in terms of what the GP will need, but it's required under the legislation. Once all of that has been done, you must then serve copies of the enduring power of attorney on the various prescribed notice parties, and these include your spouse, cohabitant or partner, and any adult children you have. Any of these notice parties will have 5 weeks within which they can object to the creation of your enduring power of attorney, and if they wish to object, they'll have to write to the DSS setting out the grounds on which they're doing so. Once all of the above forms have been completed and the notice parties advised or their consent obtained, all of the documents will then have to be uploaded to DSS for their review and approval. Assuming they have no queries or questions regarding them and they approve the EPA, it'll then be placed on their register, which will be searchable by various parties, including lawyers, banks and other parties as yet unspecified. The DSS will charge a fee for the registration of your enduring power of attorney. They'll also charge a fee if you wish to amend that power of attorney, and there are some quite narrow restrictions setting out the time periods within which you can amend your enduring power of attorney after its creation. So that's something to be aware of. In the event you also wish to revoke your enduring power of attorney, there'll be a similar process required in order to untie that knot, and it's quite lengthy and cumbersome, so that's something to bear in mind. On a practical level, what we are advising our clients to do in the event that they don't wish to go through with those steps and the costs involved, the practical steps they can undertake are as follows. Firstly, ensuring that you and your partner have as many of your assets in joint names as possible. This relates to both property and cash if you have any accounts. Secondly, consider setting up an advanced healthcare directive which would deal with any personal healthcare decisions you may wish to make at a point in the future when you no longer have capacity to do so. And we have a separate video on advanced healthcare directives. And thirdly, you might want to consider getting your solicitor to draft an affidavit setting out your will and preferences at a specific point in time. And this affidavit could then be exhibited at a later point in the event that an application to the court was necessary, say for example to have a decision-making representative appointed. So there are some practical steps we'd advise our clients to consider in the event that they don't wish to go through the hoops and the hurdles and the expense now required to set up an enduring power of attorney. For further information, please contact the office, and we'd be more than happy to sit down and talk you through your various options.